from Southwest Florida's news leader. This is Wink News at 11.
Breaking right now, the Lake-O releases are suspended. Meanwhile, the governor is on his way here to evaluate the algae bloom in our water. The latest details on the fight to clean up our water. And also breaking, one person is dead in a fiery helicopter crash, and we'll have the latest on that. Plus, one Southwest Florida group is stuck overseas, how an international dilemma leaves volunteers stranded.
Happy Sunday evening, everybody. A quick look at the tropics showing Tropical Storm Chris that's actually continuing to strengthen. Main story for Chris is it is going to stay well offshore of the coast of the United States. Not an issue at all, especially not an issue at all for us here in Southwest Florida. And in terms of Beryl, it was a tropical storm this morning. It was a hurricane yesterday morning, but right now back to a remnant low pressure system. More details on what that means all coming up, but for your Monday forecast, it's actually looking rather nice. Temperatures, though, back on the hot side, 93 degrees in town. Isolated storms in that forecast as well, so more sunshine. The main reason we are back on that warm side tomorrow afternoon. A complete rundown of the hour-by-hour forecast, plus high temperatures where you live, all coming up in just a bit.
And breaking tonight, the Army Corps of Engineers says it's suspending all Lake Okeechobee releases into the Caloosahatchee, and that is effective tomorrow morning. The Army Corps also plans to stop releases heading east. They'll pause all the releases so they can reevaluate what to do and do a full assessment of the toxic conditions. At least for 2 weeks now, blue-green algae has covered the Caloosahatchee. And people are angry over the algae bloom in our water. The South Florida Clean Water Movement came out to protest the blue-green algae flowing at the Franklin Locks in Alva. They're demanding officials make moves to help clean up this mess, even taking the message all the way to D.C.
Oh, yeah, I think this is a state of emergency, and it's only going to get worse.
Wing News reporter Chris Grisby talked to protesters about their demands for change.
What we're going to do with these samples is we're going to take them personally to Washington, D.C. on July 25th and give these people the actual truth of what's going on here.
John Heim is leading the charge for change. For almost a month now, this algae bloom has invaded the Caloosahatchee, and now Heim is taking direct samples to lawmakers.
We're talking about toxic levels that are over 500 times the threshold for human being, activity.
Biologist and Calusa waterkeeper John Cassani says this algae isn't going away anytime soon, and these blooms are on the rise.
This is overwhelmingly a systemic failure by the state to address nutrient pollution. We used to see it once or twice a decade, and now in the last 15 years, I've seen at least 5 or 6 significant blooms in this system.
That's why people like Dan Martin are driving hours to plead for change soon before things get worse.
It's been a real tragedy for the fish breeding season. It's affecting people.
We're not representatives of any elected seat. What we are is concerned citizens, and we're going to take it to D.C., and after that, we'll be taking it to the state capitol.
Reporting in Alva, Chris Grisby, Wink News Now.
And scientists say the Lake Okeechobee releases are partly to blame for this year's bloom. They say improperly treated runoff water is also partly to blame because of it. And our complete coverage continues on the Wink News app, including a letter pushing for Governor Scott to declare a state of emergency. You can find any details on the Wink News app. And we just heard within minutes that the governor will be here tomorrow in Cape Coral to assess the damage. And we'll have a live report later in the newscast. And breaking right now, one person is dead after a helicopter slams into a townhouse. This happened just hours ago in Williamsburg, Virginia. This is video taken immediately after the crash. You can see the huge flames and smoke coming out of the top of the house there. The impact caused the fire to spread to several homes. Virginia State Police are investigating what brought down the chopper. This is a developing story. Trust Wink News to let you know as soon as we learn more information. And developing right now, rescuers are preparing to restart their efforts to free a boys soccer team from a cave in Thailand. They say it can take up to 4 additional days to complete their mission, but today some relief. 4 of them were brought safely to the surface. The Nightbeat's Meg Oliver has the latest on the rescue.
In Thailand, rescuers are gearing up for the next phase of their effort to free a youth soccer team trapped in a flooded mountain cave. On Sunday, divers escorted 4 of the 12 boys back to the surface, a 2.5-mile journey through a series of dark and flooded tunnels.
You can't make a horror movie that would even compare. And I've been involved in cave rescue for 30 years, and I cannot even think of one that was this complicated.
After the four emerged from the cave, they were rushed to the hospital in ambulances. Officials in charge of the operation said they're hoping to bring another group of boys out by Monday or Tuesday.
The good news is that the first phase was successful. They've had an opportunity to show it works. It's still dangerous, but it's much better odds for the remaining kids to come out now because of those initial ones.
Before they attempt another rescue, the dive teams have to refill their oxygen tanks and replenish the supplies along the route inside the cave. Meg Oliver, CBS News.
In a tweet on Sunday, President Trump praised the cave rescue operation and said the U.S. is working to support the Thai government's efforts there. And we're working to learn more about a serious head-on crash that sent 3 people to the hospital in Immokalee. This was a scene overnight on State Road 82 near Corkscrew. At least one of the victims was seriously hurt and airlifted to the hospital. Trust Wink News to bring you an update as soon as we learn more information. And only on Wink, a Cape Coral church group is stuck in Haiti because of violent protests over the cost of gas. The government ordered a hike in fuel prices. Haiti's prime minister is pleading for calm, but flights in and out of the country keep getting canceled. The Nightbeat's Oliver Resden spoke to the church pastor and the team leader in Haiti.
As unrest erupts in the streets of Port-au-Prince, Haiti, a local group is caught in the crossfire.
We're in God's hands right now. We just got to wait on him.
17 people from the Cape Christian Fellowship traveled to Haiti last Saturday to deliver supplies to a village outside of the capital city. But a day before they were scheduled to leave, something went wrong.
Friday morning, they shared with us that there was unrest and we were going to be staying at our campus and that the airport was going to close.
Demonstrators are taking to the streets to protest the country's hike in fuel prices. Some even burning tires to block the roads.
We've been going for years, and it's the first time we've had this exact kind of situation.
Pastor Dennis Gingrich is one of the organizers of the trip. He says the group is sheltering in place at a safe location outside of Port-au-Prince.
They're treating it correctly to keep them on campus, to keep them in a safe place until things settle down.
Question now, how long will that take?
I know we'll get out of here. I don't know when. I walk with the Lord. He has a plan. I'm just waiting for him to reveal it.
Oliver Redston, Wink News Now.
No injuries or deaths were reported during today's violence, but at least 3 people were killed during protests on Friday. And this man is facing charges for pointing a gun at someone's face, all because they thought he was a cop. The Collier County Sheriff's Office says William Peterson pulled a gun on a victim at Pinch a Penny Pools in Naples. They say he believed the victim was a cop and he doesn't like cops. Deputies later learned that Peterson posted on social media that he wished to kill police. He is facing multiple charges. The president's legal team is pushing for the investigation into Russia meddling into the election to come to an end. His personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, appeared on 3 separate networks today, slamming the probe. He says special counsel Robert Mueller needs to show his hand in order to speak with the president.
We would not recommend an interview for the president unless they can satisfy us that there's some basis for this investigation.
Giuliani added that his team isn't concerned about the president's former attorney, Michael Cohen, flipping. Cohen is in legal trouble of his own as prosecutors investigate his business practices. In less than 24 hours, we should know who the president is nominating for the Supreme Court. President Trump tweeted today that he will make the announcement tomorrow at 9 p.m. And here are the 4 rumored names that could take Justice Kennedy's spots. They are Barrett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, Amal Thrapper, and Raymond Kethledge. Today, ahead of the announcement, the president says he'll announce an exceptional person who he wants to take that seat.
And I believe this person will do a great job. But I'm very close to making a decision. Have not made it official yet, obviously. Have not made it final, but we're very close to making a decision.
Some Democrats are concerned that a more conservative pick from the president could change the landscape of America's judicial system for decades. And the woman who was poisoned by a nerve agent in England died today, her death now being investigated as a murder. Police believe she came in contact with something contaminated in southwest England. They still haven't figured out what Dawn Sturgis touched. She and her boyfriend, Charlie Rowell, suddenly died and fell ill, at the end of June. Officials are warning the public not to panic.
The police's working hypothesis is that this is connected with the original incident. And I use that phrase working hypothesis just simply because, again, we don't want to sort of pre-conclude anything. We must be led by the evidence.
The UK blames Russia for the incident. A double agent and his daughter suffered from poisoning in March. They survived. Right now, the recent victim's boyfriend remains in critical condition. A father enters a standoff with police for a full day. The details of a 24-hour holding pattern with police that end in tragedy. Plus, a customer punches a restaurant worker square in the face. It's all caught on camera. Now, the changes the employees are demanding from their neighborhood.
And I'm sure it was nice not having a lot of rain for today, but unfortunately, that's the main reason we are so warm still for tonight. What's in store for Monday and that work week ahead? Your forecast is coming up.
And check out this disgusting, smelly, and straight-up toxic sight. Many are calling on the governor to declare a state of emergency here in Southwest Florida due to this widespread blue-green algae invading our water. And now he is heading here tomorrow to take a look for himself. The Nightbeat's Oliver resident is live along the water in Cape Coral right now. Oliver.
Well, if you look along the surface of the water here, you can see a lot of this algae floating, some of it actually washing up on the beach. And this is just some of what the governor will survey tomorrow morning on his boat tour. This video was shot by our Wink News photographer earlier today. You can see how thick that algae is. And the Army Corps of Engineers just announced they'll be temporarily stopping releases from Lake O, which many hope will improve water quality. You might recall the Southwest Florida legislative delegation sent a letter to the governor on Thursday asking him to declare a state of emergency. So far, he has not done that, but his office did release a statement on Friday blaming Congress and the federal government, saying in part, quote, the governor will continue to identify ways to secure the clean water that Florida residents deserve and will never stop fighting to alleviate the federal Corps' harmful releases. And the governor's boat tour is scheduled for tomorrow at 8 a.m. Of course, Wink News will be there to cover it for you, and we'll bring you all of the updates just as soon as we get them. For now, live on the Nightbeat, Oliver Redston, Wink News Now.
And breaking right now, traffic is crawling along I-75. This is a live look at mile marker 170 in Charlotte County. You can see a lot of first responders lights flashing there. Trust Wink News to let you know when we learn more. And cue the Jurassic Park theme music for this next story. Floridians are no strangers to alligators, but the massive ones really capture our attention. The Sarasota County Sheriff's Office shared this picture of a 13-foot alligator. They captured this in Shamrock Park in Venice. It took 3 deputies to wait with the gator until a trapper came to take it away. One of the supervisors says that he's been working with the Sheriff's Office for 20 years, and this is the largest gator he has ever seen.
Wow. Check that out.
Now around here, looks like we will start with a little bit of rain maybe tomorrow.
We are starting dry tomorrow morning,
okay.
but in terms of rain, you saw one of the sky cams behind me and you said, I think I see lightning.
Yeah, I did.
And everyone during the commercial break said, nah, you're not seeing lightning. Well, there actually is lightning just off the coast by quite a bit. So yeah, seeing some storms far away, moving far away as well. So if you see a few bright flashes in your windows for tonight, no rain on shore. Seeing a few of those storms just down the coast as well. Our TV station points right down the Caloosahatchee, right at that storm as well. But in terms of tomorrow morning, we are starting dry, partly cloudy, warm, and tomorrow will be just as dry as what we saw for today. Only a few storms come the afternoon, a few more really right around dinner time as well. And unfortunately, yes, fortunately, there's not a lot of rain in the forecast tomorrow. Unfortunately, though, it allows temperatures to get warmer and hotter, and also does not allow them to cool off as fast. That's the main reason we are still in the mid to upper 80s this time of night, even for tonight. Now, tomorrow we actually, again, start dry. Even come lunchtime, we are still on that dry side. Notice the mostly sunny sky we will see. A few showers pop up from time to time throughout that afternoon and evening, though nothing really too widespread until about the evening time period. That's when we can see a few scattered showers popping up mainly inland.
Thank you. New right now, a standoff comes to an end and a little girl held hostage is safe. After 24 hours, a man took his own life after an intense standoff with law enforcement in Lakeland. Investigators are still piecing together why the incident escalated to this level. Deputies say Gary Calley became enraged when he found out his daughter's mother was heading to the beach with another man. Law enforcement spent hours encouraging him to let his daughter go free.
He would tell us, yes, I'm coming out. I'm putting on Ryland's shoes. I'm putting on my shoes. And this narrative went on for about 24 hours.
And there was a point deputies didn't hear from Callie for 5 hours. Neighbors say they told them he didn't want to go back to jail.
Coming up, the MLB All-Star Game is more than a week away, and tonight we have our rosters. Up next, who made it, who didn't, and who's not happy about who didn't make it. And we teased you all of yesterday with it. Today we finally tell you the story of the local high school baseball standout who has other athletic plans for college. That's next in sports.
Now, from Southwest Florida's news leader, this is Wink News at 11.
And check out all this damage. This is a result of a road rage gone wrong. One man in Tampa died as a result of this after he and another driver swerved all over the interstate. The Nightbeat's Grady Trimble explains how the road rage incident turned deadly.
Yes, he's bleeding. The stick is through his body.
The 911 calls paint a picture of the frantic scene after the crash.
The two cars just crashed in our front yard and hit the building next door to us.
But what investigators are still trying to figure out is what happened leading up to it.
He died over a road rage incident. This should have never happened.
Investigators say Michael Bagwell was driving the silver truck. He died after a post from this fence impaled him. They say Bagwell and the other driver were changing lanes and driving erratically down US 98. The two cars hit, they skidded off the road, and one of them slammed into this building.
If somebody's trying to engage you in a road rage incident, just slow down and back off and let them have the road. It's not worth dying over.
You can see all the damage from the crash to this building. It used to be a pediatrician's office, but fortunately it's empty now. But those cars stopped just feet away from that house with people inside.
Thankful, very thankful.
James Dukes, his daughter, and two grandkids were startled by the noise, but okay.
My daughter was down by the nursery and had a little baby with her. So I was just hoping nothing hit the house.
He says the driver of the sedan, Brondon Manning, claimed the truck driver cut him off. Investigators have questioned him, but so far he hasn't been charged.
And a family is demanding answers after law enforcement killed their loved one. Harold Curry died yesterday morning after an officer-involved shooting in Jacksonville. His family says that Curry suffered from schizophrenia and was in the middle of an episode. Police say the 52-year-old man held a 12-inch knife at them, and he didn't stop walking towards the officer despite commands to stop.
Mr. Cry telephoned police at 10:02 a.m. also and tells the 911 operator that he just broke the car window and that his mom is mean to him and his stepfather tried to jump on him.
Police say that Kurai told the 911 operator he no longer wished to live. Kurai has a history of disorderly intoxication and battery and domestic violence. His mother says she wished law enforcement helped her son instead of killing him. And two people were hurt and two horses were killed when a truck slammed into them. The accident happened this afternoon on Griffin Road in Broward County. Police say the victims were a woman and a girl who were riding their horses. The riders are currently listed in serious condition but are expected to survive. There were no word yet on whether the driver of the truck will face any charges. And three nursing home employees are ended up in handcuffs for mocking a dying patient on Snapchat. The Georgia women ranging from 19 to 21 years old are charged with exploiting an elderly and disabled person. Police say the woman used profanity, obscene gestures, and smoked from a vape pen in the video. And to make matters worse, they captioned the video at the end. Police say the patient suffered from a stroke. The employees took that Snapchat while the patient was waiting for a hospice nurse. And check this out, an explosion damages homes along city streets. You can see windows blown out in the buildings in Boston. The explosion blew a hole through the floor and knocked down walls. One person went to the hospital, but they're expected to be okay. Federal investigators are working the scene because they found multiple weapons inside. A similar scene in Connecticut, a porch collapse leaves several people injured, including kids. It happened last night in Hartford. Fire officials say more than 20 people stood on a small porch when the floor fell out. Victims plummeted about 15 feet. The youngest victims are babies. Neighbors say the people living on the second floor were in the middle of a birthday party.
Saw the porch, it was completely destroyed, everything come down. When I'm heading out the door, I see old woman on the floor, I see kids here, seizure over here.
12 people were taken to the hospital. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt. And restaurant employees are demanding more protections in the workplace after a woman was brutally attacked on the job. And as you can see, it was all caught on camera. This happened about a week and a half ago in Milwaukee. A man walked behind the counter and punched a woman in the face. Another employee pulled out her concealed carry, and that's when the suspect walked away. Now, that woman, Miranda Schaefer, says she wants to see changes for businesses in that neighborhood.
I want businesses to be more open to their employees carrying because of situations like this, to more security, things like, especially places like that in that neighborhood. You know, they don't have no locks on the doors. They don't have any of that. No security.
Schaefer says she quit her job right after this incident. She worked there for 2 years. An interesting note, Schaefer says she got permission to bring her gun the day before this incident. And also in Milwaukee, this 8-month-old baby is suffering from injuries he got at a daycare. You can see the bruises on the side of his face right here. Police are investigating now. The Nightbeat's Ashley Sears talked to the mom who is demanding to know why this happened to her little boy.
Mama gonna get you. Ooh.
8-month-old Judale Malone has a huge smile across his face.
So goofy, he is so ticklish.
But Friday, his laughter was silenced by his tears.
And he is so adorable, like, I just don't understand.
The baby boy went to the Harvest Learning Center daycare early Friday morning, not long after his mother, Rosina Hamilton, got a concerning call.
She like, yes, Miss Hamilton, can you come get Judo? He got bit by a mosquito bite. We think he have a allergic reaction.
When Hamilton picked up her son,
his head is swollen and some of his hair got scraped off. He have bruising in the ear.
The marks on his body told a different story.
He had bite marks on his arm and he had some scratches on his chest.
She took her son to 2 different hospitals where doctors performed tests and a CT scan.
They said this is not no mosquito bite. They didn't even find a mosquito bite on him.
Milwaukee police are now investigating possible child abuse at the daycare. When we reached out to the daycare's owner Saturday, she said she could not comment until the police investigation was complete.
I'm still waiting to know the whole story.
This mother wants to know exactly what happened so her little boy's laughter can continue.
I just love him. What would mommy do without you?
And records show that daycare has 16 health and safety violations in the last 3 years. That includes tripping hazards and low room temperatures. And Thailand's tourism minister is apologizing to families that lost their loved ones. At least 42 people died after 2 boats capsized on the coast of the country's Phuket Island. 14 others are still missing. The boat carried more than 130 tourists, mainly from China. It tipped over during high tide and strong winds on Thursday. 42 people were rescued. Officials say they did not find any more bodies during searching operations today. And tomorrow, you can get free dental care for your children from Lee Health. The event is sponsored by the Ronald McDonald Care Mobile. The address is right there on your screen. The event starts at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Patients must be 20 years or younger. Anyone under 18 must have a consent form signed by their parents. For more information, contact the number right there on the screen. And widespread flood leaves dozens dead. The video from the devastating conditions in just minutes. But first,
I honestly told my wife when all these cars were parked here, I was like, they're going to end up catching one of these cars on fire.
A 4th of July celebration gets out of hand. One person walks away with brutal injuries. Ahead, the whole incident caught on camera.
If you plan on boating on your Monday, expect a great start to the day. More showers expected in the afternoon. Your full forecast is next.
And lots of Americans celebrated the 4th of July with fireworks shows, but sometimes the flashy light displays can turn dangerous. One Cleveland neighborhood started shooting them off in the streets, and the celebrations quickly got out of hand, as you can see right here. And the whole incident, and it's caught on camera. The Nightbeat's Joe Pekanakis has the details.
It's the usually quiet Bernard Avenue neighborhood on Cleveland's west side, a slice of Americana on this 4th of July holiday week. But just 2 nights ago, 4th of July fireworks mayhem in the street. Residents say sustained explosions several minutes at a time caused by illegal and homemade explosives. 200 people on hand blocking off the street.
There was at least 40 cars on the street on that side, all the way. Match this all the way down.
Neighbor Steve Woodruff was left concerned about safety.
The stuff they're lighting off, I've seen some go sideways. I've seen some malfunction.
Such a heavy concentration of fireworks causing a fire hazard on a street lined with huge trees.
I honestly told my wife when all these cars were parked here, I was like, they're going to end up catching one of these cars on fire.
And then this. Neighbors say it appears 2 men were trying to light a homemade explosive. That's when things went terribly wrong. One of the men blown up in a puff of smoke.
That literally happened like 15 minutes after the squad cars came over. to remove the two street parking.
Neighbors posting the man's damaged hand on Facebook. So bad we can't show you his injuries uncensored. Neighbors say police and EMS arrived on the scene working to break up the illegal fireworks party.
Police showed up, and then they were down there, and then they got everybody to move their cars, and they left.
But then a short time later that night, Fireworks Alley here on Bernard Avenue back at it again. Despite the serious injury, homemade fireworks and police intervention.
I would definitely say homemade would not be the way to go. A couple bottle rockets, maybe some firecrackers in a trash can or something, but not mortars and homemade. I mean, you see what happened.
And just in, the Japanese government says at least 100 people are dead after heavy rains, floods, and mudslides in western Japan. Rivers ran over and millions of people have fled from their homes. More rain is expected at least another day. And that's not the only Asian country suffering from devastating rain. Check this out. Heavy monsoon rains are flooding roads in India. The video right here in Mumbai shows you that the cars and bikes are dealing and struggling with pushing through that water. People nearby blame it on poor infrastructure and say the city isn't doing enough to fix it. And meanwhile, much of North America is sweltering in widespread heat wave. It's especially a problem in Canada. At least 54 people died in Quebec in a 6-day span. Many of the victims are older than 65, and it's also taken a toll on the homeless there.
It's terrible. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. It's terrible. It's hot. You get muggy, you get tired, and you want to sleep. And that's not just from being tired, that's from the heat.
And some parts of Canada had a heat index as high as 116 degrees Fahrenheit, and that is very hot. Wow.
Yes, that's even quite hot to our standards, as well as we usually have a heat index in the upper 90s and low 100s. No. And speaking of, we can have the same thing tomorrow. More sunshine allows more heat to build in, and tomorrow we'll see more of the same. Today's high temperature was 92 in Fort Myers, 95. Yes, 95 is what it got to in Naples. Tomorrow, just the same. Expect.
And just a reminder, happening tomorrow, the governor will visit Southwest Florida to evaluate the algae invasion in our water. We told you at the beginning of the Nightbeat that the Army Corps of Engineers is suspending its releases from Lake Okeechobee effective tomorrow morning. You can trust Wing News to be on top of all of this and to be live with the governor. He'll be there in Cape Coral, and we'll start our newscast at 4:30. Be sure to tune into that. An important issue right there. And let's get that final check of weather as we start our work week.
We start dry tomorrow morning. A few more showers expected tomorrow afternoon and evening. Notice they will stay isolated, though, along the coast. Scattered showers inland. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, a few more showers expected in the mornings. And also more scattered showers and storms back in the afternoons.
All right, Zach, thank you. And Andrew, thank you. And thank you for watching. Everyone, have a great Monday.